Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we got Grand Slam. Now, I'm going to do my best to make this as short as possible. Unfortunately, earlier today, very early in the morning, I bit my tongue. It's not super bad. It used to be worse. I mean, the entire front of the tongue was red. It looked like it was bloodshot. But as you can see, doesn't look bad. Just right there now, it looks like it. Because it used to be a big red spot. Now, I took care of it. I gargled with salt, warm water, and I'll do it again. And I put ice on it. So I will be alright. But my tongue hurts. But let's make this very clear. I had to talk about Grand Slam because we got things accomplished here that needed to be we got one thing that I'm so happy that just needed to happen. It just needed to happen, and finally it did happen. That's the one thing I've been waiting for a while, and you probably know what it is. But let's go through this. Niles McGuinness versus Bryan Danielson. They tried to really hype this up, wondering if Bryan could wrestle or not. And Niles McGuinness, is he able to wrestle? Because let's make it clear, 2011 was the last time, from what I understand, he last wrestled. Yes, he worked in NXT. Yes, now he works in AEW. Now, after almost 15 years, he's finally wrestled with... And understand, this is after many years that he just couldn't wrestle because of several health conditions and injuries. I know someone's going to say what they were. I do know what they are. Generally, I know what his health conditions are. They don't need to be explained. So, we finally got a match with him. Seemingly, he's healthy. He's able to go. And he did go very well. I gotta admit that when you see the match for itself, when they were doing open hand slaps, they weren't really very strong open hand slaps to Bryan Danielson due to the fact of his neck. I think Niles was holding back a little bit because Bryan's neck is still pretty jacked. Taking away from how they made him look like he almost died from getting his face covered with a bag by Mox, he is still with a messed up neck. So getting really hard hits is something, getting smacked, that will mess with you. So I think Niles was a bit light when it came to the smacks. But for the other stuff that went in the ring, he wasn't that soft. So it was a good match. And in the end, we got a submission on Niles McGuinness. But Niles is going like, thank you. And I think he did that due to the fact that he just wanted closure. Because he never got a chance to really close his career the way he probably wanted. He wanted one more match probably with Bryan Danielson. But by that time, he already gone to NXT. Went through the system in WWE. He never had a chance to close with one person he really probably liked to wrestle with. And if he still wrestles, great. But if this is the last time we ever see Niles McGuinness in a ring, he probably wanted to go out knowing full well that Bryan Danielson's nearing his own end, because soon, probably by the beginning of next year, he will be done with in-ring competition. He'll probably work in the back in AEW. I do not think that he'll leave the company. I'll be surprised if he just leaves wrestling altogether. I don't think he will. I think he'll work in the back. He'll work in creative. I think that's what I believe. But that's just me. Next match. Oh, I've been waiting for this. Boy. Hook versus Roderick Strong. FTW title. This was a good match. Honestly, this is the best match I've seen Hook have with someone who is a good ground wrestler. And yes, it did go to doing no rules eventually. Trying to hurt one another, using utensils and stuff. Yes, using a candlestick. Yes, of course. But let's make this very clear. This was still a good match. And when it was all over, because Hook did win, you got Roderick Strong shaking his hand along with Matt Taman. And I'm kind of surprised that even Mike Bennett shook his hand. All three of them shook his hand left. Because they probably knew what was about to happen, which I've been begging for it to happen. And this was when he jumped out the ring after he held the title up. He went over to Tony Schiavone. And this was the 11th defense. Now that was the 12th win for Hook. And they're only 3 miles away from where the FTW title started in, 1998? And over the years, that title has come back and forth and even ended up in TNA. I believe at one point it showed up in TNA. it never really showed that much up in WWE. I know it was there at least at one time or another. But the title's been seen around different promotions. Now AEW is where it finally ended up. And Hook said, "Thank you to everyone who fought for this title. Thank you for everyone who cheered for me and cheered for this title. But I'm officially saying now that this title is retired." He called his dad over and said, "This is yours," and gives it to him. And Taz was about to shake his hand, but he wasn't going to play that. He wanted to hug his dad. And he did hug his father. And they're only a few miles away from where Hook lives, and so does, I mean, I have been begging for Taz's title to be retired the right way. It should have done it all out. But since they did it here at Grand Slam, I'm cool with it. Because it's not far from when the title was created. It's not far from where Hook lives in Manhattan. It's not far from where, I can't remember where Taz lives. I think he lives in Queens, I believe. I don't remember where he's living. But essentially, not far from either one where they live. And it's finally fitting that the title finally gets retired from AEW, hopefully permanently. That is just a footnote in AEW's history. That it should not be brought back. It should be ended. And I'm so happy it happened like this. I wish it happened at All Out, but it happened here. Fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Let's move on. The tag championships, the EVPs versus a Kyle Fletcher and a Will Ospreay. Let me give it to you like this. Was this the best match I've seen on Dynamite TV? No, but it was damn good. Was this better than the Bryan Danielson match with Niles McGuinness? Yes. Was it better than the one with Hook and Robert Strom? No. I think that one's better due to the fact of the story that's with it. So I would say Roderick Strong and Hook is a strong second place. This is a strong third place when it comes to match quality as well as for storytelling. Because let's make this clear. The Don Callis family has always been a big question. Why would they never just end it correctly when it came to Don, when it came to Kyle, when it came to when he was there, Powerhouse Hobbs? They never did. Kateska and having a problem with Will Ospreay is where they're going to probably go next. But as you already know, the EVPs won due to the fact that Don wanted to have Kyle cheat by doing what he did with, I'm like, you're going down that route of using a screwdriver, using Kyle to do it. You see Will stopping him, and then that distraction is what caused them to lose. Does this finally add into, hey, we got this done. Now maybe we'll pull the trigger and let Don Callis' family destroy Will Ospreay. That means Kyle is going to be on that side, and it's going to be Don as well as Kateska. I'm hoping to go down that route, but I don't know. I just don't. I do believe they should. Kyle should turn on Will as well as Kateska turn on Will. It should happen, but I just don't know. Let's move on. What can I say about this match? Mariah May versus Sakazaki. I've never hated Yuka. I did. Yuka Sakazaki, she can wrestle. She's cute. She's 32 years old. I had to check it. I didn't know how old she was. I knew she was maybe near 30. She was 32 years old. And I still believe that her style is good, but I do believe they need to change up her character. She's an original, pretty much as close as it could be for a woman who's been in AEW as an original like Riho or her or Hiro Kushida or Emi Sakura. She's as close as you can get to an original who started within the first year of AEW. But did I really feel anything important from this match? No. Actually, when it came down to it, Mia Kurosawa, you see, it's kind of hard to talk. Mia Kurosawa, should have been the one in that match. Because I think the only person that made better sense than Sakazaki is Mia. She should have been the one to deal with that match. But if they're setting this up for Wrestle Dream, then I can understand that Mia's going to be dealing with Mariah. Because near the end of the match, well, actually, when match was all over and Mariah won, Mia comes out after Willow comes out to try and stop Yuka from getting her head smashed in with the title. And that distraction made it easier for Mariah to run away. And now Mia's not happy about what happened to Yuka or to Willow. She wasn't into that. She decided she was going to come there. She's like that. And now we're going to have this situation where Mia is going to be dealing with Mariah. But will Mia and Mariah face each other at Wrestle Dream? I don't know. And since this story has not been developed very well when it comes to Mia, it should have been done earlier. I don't think it will be. I just don't know. Final match, number 1 contendership. Now, this is Darby Allin's title shot. If Mox wins, he gets the shot. That's what it's all about. Let me tell you this. This was a very brutal match. I don't know if it was a blood bag in his mouth. I don't think it was. It looked like it might have been. But it might have been that it really did look like a blood bag that was in his mouth. That popped. He spit it out. That was fake blood. I could be wrong though. But the brutality of the match helped. Because we are talking about Darby Allin, who I still say is the second coming of Mick Foley, not the second coming of Sting. I mean, Sting mentored him, but the true person that he should have been really being compared to is Mick Foley. That's who he really should be compared to. But this match was done very well. Maria Shafir was at ringside, and in the end, after getting destroyed by Mox, who basically was dominant the majority of the match, Mox wins. But then we get Bryan Danielson, who already had his match earlier, who almost got... I know I didn't mention Christian, but I'm leaving it here because I wanted to have the context of what's going on. Christian, on his match, tried to come out and sign Kip Sabian, which still doesn't make much sense. Him wanting a father from Christian grabbed his pen and kept him from doing it. And you see pretty much Pac and Claudio back there preventing it from really happening. So when Bryan Danielson came out, you see Claudio, you see Pac, you see Marina Shafir trying to choke out Bryan Danielson, and then you see Private Party coming out with Commander, then you see the rest of the members of Black Comp. Let's put this in straight perspective. What did we get? Bryan Danielson making it very clear, which was already set up because of Wrestle Dream. He says, you want this damn title shot? Fine, Wrestle Dream, me and you, I'm going to kick your fucking head in. And he's cursing on TV, which will be blotted out on TNT. It will be blotted out. We won't hear him say, I'm going to kick your fucking head in. It will be blotted. If you saw it on the app, you heard him say it. So it's good. But he didn't need to say, you want to match with me, I'll let you have it at Wrestle Dream. We already know what's going to happen. But here's the big question, and this is me. What does this really mean? Oh, my tongue. Ooh. What does this really mean at Wrestle Dream? Will they pull the trigger, let Moxley win, let Bryan Danielson retire, and then will the person we've been hearing possibly rumored to be a part of this group, which is Shane McMahon, appear or not? Or are they going to wait at World's End? Because this is a possibility. They may wait until World's End to the end of the year using that premise that the world that you know in AEW ends now because now Shane McMahon shows up. Or will they do it here? Will they actually have Shane McMahon come out if Mox wins against Bryan Danielson? Or are they going to wait until World's End and Bryan Danielson goes up against Shane McMahon? I don't think they'll do that. But this is a big question. They need a payout before the end of this year. Guys, AEW has sometimes been like this, but other times have been like this. Been like this. Been like this. And then sometimes here. This was a focused show. They're trying to set up what needs to be done. Yes, I didn't say anything about MVP. I'm leaving it. Yes, MVP showed up talking to Prince Nana. I am not talking about it because we still don't know what the situation is with Bobby Lashley or if it's just MVP by himself. I'm leaving it out because I want to know what's going to happen next week with if MVP will show up. Or will we see Collision's version of Grand Slam and we'll have MVP show up again? Because I might do a review of that. I don't know yet. I may do a Collision review of that Grand Slam. I might. But it's just me. Peace.